Hello, 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 and good morning or early morning. And I look like it's good morning, but that's okay. We're here to papercraft, not look gorgeous, right? How is everybody? I know this is a very awkward, I don't normally do random lives at 11 o'clock on a weekday, but I really wanted to get some things done. I wanted to do this last night, but it just last night got away from me. And here we are. This is what it is. It's just sometimes it's just easier than filming a video, editing a video, exporting a video, shrinking a video, uploading a video. Like, let's just chat with a couple people while we do some things, right? Hello, Kelly Bear and Deirdre and Scott and Miss Jamie. Miss Jamie's been crafting Wandering Mountain Bardic Path. She has made the coolest little deck. Maybe she can tell you about it, but she just, I think, wrapped it all up this morning. Modern Day Dream and Tanya. I'm sure I missed some people, but hello, hello, and good morning, good morning. So if you watched, I don't know if I do a live. I can't remember. I think I did a live talking about my Fairytale Charm set for charm casting, and my hair is going to drive me bonkers because there's this big swoop right here. You know, the things that drive you bonkers when you have to look at your face. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Look in the mirror first, maybe. So I started a project when I was collecting a couple other charms for it. One of the brands that I do really like for Fairytale charms is called Fairytale. I think that's what it's called. Something like that. And they had this book, which is so sweet. A, it has a little charm on here. And B, look. I mean, it just feels like a fairy tale forest. So I decided to pick this up for making a little bit of a guidebook for it because I did want to put some extra associations and things in. So I want to do the cover page here. And so what I've done, this charm set, and I have to say I've been loving using this charm set. I have my own, we talked about in the last one, I have a very high functioning for me charm set that I've had for years, but that had like its own system. And this one also has its own system. If you know me, you know I like oracles with a bit of a system. And so this has a system. It has the Council of Three. It has the Guardians of the Element. It has 4 tools of the Magician, aka the caster. It has the Keys of the Directions. It has the Adventure Cycle built in. And then I even added in a Council of Numbers, which I really have been enjoying. You can get a pack that has all of the numbers on it, in it, and they're right here. They have some cute ones, but these are just plain ones because I didn't want them to overpower. I really enjoyed this. A lot of times I'll add dice to my casting so I can get a number, but this I have 1 through 10, and so if a number shows up in a reading, obviously with your numerology, that really makes a nice message. I've really enjoyed that to the degree in which I'll probably get a set to add to my normal casting set because this has been a really great feature. So yeah. So that's where these pages are. I'm kind of was working out the system that was there. But, and don't, this is messy, right? So, and this is a tip, right? This is a working book, and I'm really not trying to make this pretty like my paper crafting book. You know, I have, let me grab that. Some of you have paper crafted with me before on here, and so I do have a really cool paper crafting book that I look at. This is relevant for today, isn't it? So I have random pages in here with paper crafting, and these are more like mini altars. Like wherever you're at, you can I can step into my guardian spirits. I can step into the forest. I can do some casting. I can do some intention work. So these are more like mini altars, this book is, and so I am trying to make it look really pretty. With this one, I'm not really trying to be pretty. I'm just trying to get information in there to reference. So what I did is I wrote the 36 Lenormand, because if you followed me, you know, for a charm casting set, I really highly recommend that you have a Lenormand base. It lets you have significators. It lets you go find things so that you're not overwhelmed when you throw all of the charms on the table. So I have that in ink, and then I put the actual charms in pencil because sometimes I swap things in and out. And then I have them on, I have page numbers next to them. And these are ones that I have that are not associated to Lenormand, and I have their page number on it because I didn't really want to try to mess with getting them in order because, you know, again, things go in and out. But what I quickly found, my plan was to just put quotes about the particular charm, you know, it's fairy tales. What are some quotes that I can throw in? Like Anna Teresa had mentioned the ladybird fly away home when I was talking about the ladybug. She had left a comment. So I have that little, it's a English and German nursery rhyme from the 1700s. And so I kind of put that in there with some other examples that are done, and that it was used as a warning system when the Catholics were banned from practicing. They would have the kids outside, and if somebody was coming, if the authorities were coming, they would start to say this they would start to sing this nursery rhyme, the ladybird fly away home, and it would let the adults inside know to clean up, you know, and disperse any signs that they were holding a mass, because they were not allowed to hold masses. So I thought that was so interesting, right? And so I added that information in here, and I found a little picture. And you can sometimes they would also make wishes on ladybugs. So you'd have a ladybug. I did that when I was a kid, and if it would land on you, you make a wish and then have it fly away. So I put that little picture in, and then on the next one, I immediately was thinking about the books that I associated with dragons, which is Elizabeth Kerner's Song in a Silence, one of my all-time favorite books. Not because it's an amazing, I need to reread it again, right? It's not so much that it's like this amazing story. It's not Lord of the Rings, right? But it really speaks to, I remember when reading it, it really spoke to the longing to believe in something more, to really have a strong belief that there are dragons, right? That there are dragons. I hear the singing of dragons, and to have that, and then to have that moment, like when you come face to face with a dragon, was super powerful for me. It still gives me goosebumps. So then I started down this rabbit trail of connecting all of the charms with books, some of them movies, because I am a bit of a movie freak, but most of them books. I have the treasure chest, which is and I'm making a very rough little sketch of the charm. I think I'm going to come back in with a little bit of watercolor on that. I'm not sure yet. But of course, for the treasure chest, so let me pull this out of the way. I know I'm kind of, good morning, people who are slipping into papercraft, or watch me try to papercraft here. Let's try to move some things. Oh, and I wanted to look at these after my last chat. I don't know if she wants me to say her name. I probably should not do that. Somebody contacted me and said they had, because if you remember in my last live, if you were there, I had talked about how I had been trying for years to find a mouse. And she's like, I have a mouse. Oh, let's see if you can look at this little mouse. Oh my, I know it doesn't want to focus on little tiny things when there are other things. I wish it would focus. I don't know how to make mine autofocus. Maybe I have to have autofocus on. Ooh, wait a minute. I know. Let me try one thing because I do want to show some charms. So let me try something. Maybe I don't have autofocus cancel. Handycam. Configure video. Nope. 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 Cancel. I wonder if I do it on here. Let me try something. Configure video. Sorry, folks. I'm just going to try this one thing in case it would work. Because it's so cute. Where's autofocus? Oh, well. I guess I shall not. Oh, there. Autofocus. I wonder if I can show it this way. Look. Can you see it? Look at how cute it is. It's adorable. And then she sent some other miscellaneous charms that she saw I didn't have. I do have a wand, but look at the lantern. That's awesome. And a Ferris wheel. This one I'm going to add to my Fairytale charm set, of course. Mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? So that one's going in my Fairytale. This one is going to go into my regular set of charms because I pulled over from my regular set, the poison one that I've been using because that goes as like a pirate symbol. So that one, let's actually do it right now so I don't forget. That's going into my regular charm set. And probably some of these are too, especially the scissors. But I'm not going to figure that out today because today we are talking about books and charm cat and Fairytale charms. So that was so sweet. I have literally been watching for a mouse for years. Again, I go hunt down some of these things, yes, but I just kind of watch for. Oh my goodness, Miss Kelly! I truthfully would have assumed that you had a charm casting set. I'm not going to lie; it does seem like something that you would love. Hello, everybody slipping in. Okay, how are we going to do this? I do want to. We're going to move some things. Okay. So I've already done this. Okay, how are we going to do this? This is going to be messy, but we're going to at least just kind of get caught up to where we are. This charm is going to go on my bag. Miss Deirdre is my Deirdre of the bags. We found the perfect fabric, Fairytale fabric to go with this. It's going to be a big bag just like this one, but in a Fairytale fabric, which is going to be awesome. And I'm going to put this tree charm on that bag. But anyways, where were we at? We were at the treasure chest. So this is a little treasure chest. How cute. Look at the jewels inside. I wondered if this one would cast well, like if it would always link, because you want you always need to test if it's a kind of different charm. You do want to make sure that it is going to cast well, right? Or is it sometimes going to be on top? Is it going to be flip-flopping? You don't want it to always land in the same way. I don't. Did this happen before? I'll be right back. Stop, Isabella. It's okay. Okay. You did a good job protecting us, but it's just the Amazon. Oh, sorry. That was Amazon, not for me. for a neighbor. I'm like, I didn't order anything from Amazon. And if I did, it wouldn't come here because if they leave it on this porch, it will get taken. Oh, bye, Christine. It looks like Christine's going to sleep. Oh, I know. Like, neither time has been for me. One was somebody being led into another place, and the other time was somebody else's Amazon package. So it's like I really don't get many doorbell rings because I send all my packages to P.O. Box because this is not a good place for it. And I don't get random company. My family is a call first or text first. We don't randomly show up on people's doorsteps because it's rude. So I don't normally get doorbells that often. My dog, somebody asked what kind of dog. She is a Shih Tzu. Her name is Isabel Louise. And she is quite the protector. Okay. People interrupting. We're trying to charm cast and talk about books. But look what you got to sit there and look at the whole time. Yes, yes. Anyways, I was saying that with something like this, but I did test this quite a bit and I've done quite a few readings with it. And it does sometimes lay on its face and sometimes lay on its back. It's pretty random. And so I was wondering if this would work or not. But it does. And so I, of course, have to pick Treasure Island for that one. And then I'm putting quotes in. Some of them are quite filled up. Some of them I really would prefer to leave some room to be able to add quotes in. But I had to add Tarzan. You know, one of the first, because my dad had all, and I have them. My dad had all of my treasure chest is actually my key for Lenormand. It's success. It's kind of winning the prize. You found, you followed the map and you found the treasure chest. So that's what my success and reward is, what my treasure chest is. Yes. No, this is not Christopher Lambert. This is, what's his name? He was in True Blood. Oh, this is the new Tarzan, which I absolutely love. So my dad had all the old Tarzan paperbacks. I have them. I read them all many, 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 many times. And I truly believe that my concept of romantic, over the top love came from reading those books for with Tarzan and Jane. Like this is not Disney Tarzan. This is Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan. So I have the quote here: "I love you, and because I love you, I believe in you. But if I did not believe, still should I love? Had you not come back for me, and had there been no other way, I would have gone into the jungle with you forever." Alexander Skarsgård, thank you. Eric Northman. I fell in love with I also have a quote from The Princess Bride. "Do I love you? My God, if your love were a grain of sand, mine would be a universe of beaches." From Princess Bride. So this is for the heart charm. And so, I have quotes there, but I love the new Tarzan movie. Again, I'm a cheese for Cheese Factor, and it just brings back. I went to Africa because of Tarzan. Like, I had to be able. I went to Africa to work in a blind school, but truthfully, I went to Africa because of Tarzan. And are there all kinds of terrible tropes in Tarzan? Looking back as an adult and a critical thinker and reader, yes. But my childhood reaction to just the story of Tarzan, this idea of somebody living in a jungle, being raised by great apes, and finding the love of a lifetime, right? It was what informed my idea of, is what set me up for real normal relationship failure, right? So I had to have that there, and with the old picture. So that was my heart charm. Do I create this journal over time or all at once with your charms like that? It is a bit of both. Like I kind of have added in a little bit at a time. But when I'm an all in person or a none. You know, I'm a nothing or all in. It's my family. So I will do a bunch of them at once. Today I'm going to get a bunch of the books put in. So that's kind of why I wanted to chit chat about what books I chose for most of them. So I do tend to binge a whole bunch, but generally, like so far, I just kind of did one because they're not fancy, right? I'm not trying to. I have horrible handwriting. I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm just trying to put stuff in that will key me into a book or something like that. The other one that I've done is the stars. This is my Lenormand stars, and the charm says, when it's dark, look for the stars. I had to put Strands of Starlight by Gail Bondino for that. There's a whole scene in there where the elves that are in the storyland, they like dance the stars. There's this beautiful underlying theme of sort of meeting the lady and dancing the stars and being like in tune with their path. That makes it makes a lot of sense to me. So that's the book that I chose for that. So then that's when I was like, oh my goodness, like I need to choose a book for each one of them, right? That is what I need to do. So I did go through and write out what the different charms are at the top. So what I've done for each of them is I have the title or what the charm is. I'm going to do a little sketch of each of the charms and probably watercolor it. If it's connected to Lenormand, I have that written in pencil because it could change. And I also have the keywords, basic keywords in the upper corner. So I went through and I did that sketches on a couple of them, but I went through and did that on all of them so that I would have my page numbers and have my page numbers in the back. But I thought it would be fun. So these are the ones that I have finished already. But not that one because I got to put that in. I have a little bag of ones I haven't picked out the books yet. These are the ones I've already picked out the books. So then I just literally went on the internets, right? This is just for me, so I don't have to worry about anything. And I try, whenever I do things like this, I really try not to overthink it, right? I try to say, what is that first hit, right? What is the thing that comes to my head when I think of this charm, meaning in relation to a book? What is the first thing that came to mind? And I really tried not to censor this too much, right? Let's see. So I thought, let's cut some of these out here. So I did the book charm. So this is my book charm. It says Once Upon a Time. I don't know if you're going to see that, but it says Once Upon a Time. And see, this is where it's going to get hard. I think what I did with this one, I may have to whittle them down and see. I think I did Grimm's Fairy Tales. Oh, wait, I need to put the luck one in. For the little luck one, I have the Irish folk and fairy tale. Maybe I should cut these all out. I don't know the best way to do that. Yeah, there are a lot of scars. There are a lot, but he made a very good Tarzan. I thought he did good. Again, is there cheese factor? Of course there is. It's Tarzan. I read all my dad's Tarzans, all his Conan books, all this Journey to the Center of the Earth. So that's, I thought I did Irish folk tales for that one. Well, here, maybe we should just do it. I don't know how. I wanted to see what books I chose. So maybe we'll just kind of go through and figure it out. So that's for my lucky charm, which is mindful, watch for bits of luck and happiness. I have the book charm, which is my Lenormand book. And I think I did the Grimm's fairy tales for that one. So we'll cut that one out. But you could do this with any charm set. Like it wouldn't have to be and it wouldn't have to be books, right? I love books. Books are my jam. So it makes sense that that's a pretty picture too. It's not a game. It's just for divination. So it's just for casting for divination messages. I got the sweetest ballerina, and then I got a dinosaur. These kind of represent my son and daughter. I did like Christopher Lambert, but this new one I really love. Look at how sweet she is. Well, the charm, so Jessica, I have a charm set that I use to cast. This is sort of like making my own guidebook for it. What are some of my book associations? What are quotes that I can collect? What are little bits and bobs that help me to really lean into the meaning of the charm? Like this is my daughter and her love to just dance and her just pure joy that she has. So that's that charm. And so, of course, I had to do the Steadfast Tin Soldier, which is really a sad book. This is a cheap inkjet. So some of these colors are not great. I have a really good printer for like art prints and stuff, but it's ginormous and it's put away in storage until I have a bigger space. But this is just a $50 inkjet printer. I get so frustrated with printers, Miss Kelly Bear. Like when I hit print, I really want to print the piece of paper. And it seems like every printer I have just doesn't do that. So I got so frustrated one time. I put the fancy printer away and it was like Black Friday or something, and got a cheap printer and got a cheap printer. And then it was just like, I'm done with this business. So it's just a cheap one. The other one is the dinosaur for my son. Whilst my daughter was dancing around the living room, annoying my son, he was cataloging dinosaurs. And one of my favorite memories, once I go through all these, I'll throw them down and show you. I have a ton of videos on charm casting, Miss Jessica, so you can see that. And if you look at the last live where I go through both of my charm casting sets, I do a sample of how you would do it as well. It's really fantastic way to do divination. I have 2 books for the dinosaur page. One of my favorite memories with my son is, Jurassic Park came out. My son was obsessed with dinosaurs since he was very little. He would line them up. He would categorize them. We have so many videos of him sitting in front of the video and holding up all of his little dinosaurs and saying exactly what they are. And Jurassic Park came out when my kids were still pretty little, and it would have been a little too scary for them. My ex, this is back when there were videotapes, right? My ex, he recorded Jurassic Park and took out the scary bits so that my son could watch it, even though it was a little too scary for him. And his face and my daughter's face, the first time that in Jurassic Park, if you've ever seen Jurassic Park, they go to the island where there are real dinosaurs. Like they've brought back real dinosaurs through DNA cloning. And so, but my son's face when he had that experience of all of a sudden these amazing looking like real life dinosaurs at the time, like it was amazing movie making, came on the screen. He was just in such complete awe. It was a moment of childhood magic. So of course I had to have Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. I actually did like the book though. And then I also had to have Land Before Time. My kids were obsessed with Land Before Time. And the whole story of Land Before Time and this, working together to find a way, families always find a way. I remember talking about that with my kids that, if you ever feel disconnected or separated, like families always find a way to come back together. So I have those for the dinosaur, one, which for me is about awe. It's about remembrance. It's about the magnitude of life, right? I was in a moment of childhood as an adult when I watched. Yes, I know. I was the same way. Cult Compass for sure. It was just amazing. But my son's reaction really trumped for me that experience. Did I do I might not yet have printed out a, oh yes, I have the Wizard of Oz. So I found, this was so funny. I was on the phone, or I was WhatsApping with Deirdre of the Bags, because she was collecting charms too, and we were both at I think it was Hobby Lobby looking at charms. And I literally said, now my charm set would be perfect if I found a set of ruby slippers. And there was a set of ruby slippers. So I was so excited to see that. I actually added this to the Lenormand Stork. This is about positive movement forward, and getting out of a and moving into a better state, finally going home. It's also about intention, setting your mind. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home, right? So, of course, I have the book Wizard of Oz, which is a lot creepier than the movie Wizard of Oz. But I also do love the movie. I am a musical fan, so anything that is an old musical, I probably watched 500,000 times. But in this case, I did get a picture of the book here. So that is for that. And we did the lucky one. What do we have next? This is, I don't know, somebody's probably going to tell me, I think this might be a manta ray, not or I don't know if this is a I think this might be a manta ray, not a stingray. And I'm thinking maybe the one in Moana is a stingray, but who knows? I'm not a animal expert. No, it looks like the same one. Okay, so if you've watched me, I am a Moana fan. I'm a Disney fan. Disney is problematic. Disney movies are problematic. I understand that from the social context. They are problematic. But I am also, my kids, they grew up obviously watching Disney movies, and I absolutely love Disney movies. So, I can, one of the things I've been watching, this one YouTuber, I cannot remember what her name is. Khadija, I can't remember her last name. Khadija. Anyways, but she was talking, I really like her because she talks about hard-hitting social things, but she also says that we have to hold space. We can both love something and critically think and understand where it's wrong, right? Or where there are problems with it. Like we can hold both emotions in one space. We can understand the joy and the just childhood wonder of something, but also be like, I remember going back and reading Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, which is in here. Love that book. But as an adult reading it, there's some problems, right? A lot of things as an adult, I can go back and I can read and I can say, okay, that's a little bit, there's some problems there. Whoa, what were they thinking? But at the same time, my memories of those things as a child are still my memories. They're still my experiences, and I can hold space for that. Well, as an adult, I hold space for Moana. Moana is like, I don't know. And it's funny because my friend Bart, if I say I'm going to watch Moana, he's kind of like, oh, like if something's going on, because like I will watch it and I will bawl. Like I will cry. It lets me cry. She lets me feel empowered. Like I wish I had understood or known Moana when I was a young woman, saying, why can't I just lean into this energy that she has? And grandmother, who turns into the manta ray, she's like one of my spirit guardians. So I was so excited. The moment in Moana when she is walking across the path, the path, and the fire goddess, she's, I'm not going to give it away. Watch Moana, but the fire goddess is like coming straight at her, just like crawling down the thing, and she is just like standing and walking and saying, I know who you are, and she's not going to be afraid. It makes me want to cry just talking about it. That's how much it impacts me. I love it. So when I saw this one, I was like, yes, and yes. So of course I have this image of Moana and her grandmother who turns into the manta ray. So that's that. This is grandmother energy for me. This is guardianship. This is wisdom, that kind of energy there. So that's that. Long story to say why. Kelly Bear, yes. As our saying goes, our faves are problem. Yeah, that's what it is. A lot of these things are probably problematic, but they have meaning. What did I do for the ship? Oh, the ship. So this is one of my favorites. I found this a while back. I love this ship charm because it looks like a doubloon. But I think that I did a Princess Bride for this because I don't know if you've watched Princess Bride. If you haven't watched Princess Bride or read the book is really fantastic. The book is by William Goldman. And now I'm going to forget his name, but there's this whole thing going on in the book where there's multiple people playing the Dread Pirate. You know, everybody was going to be the Dread Pirate for a while, and then they kind of passed the Dread Pirate off to being somebody else, all the way through with the ship. And the whole book is about long journeys, about the journey of the main character, about the journey of the princess. And so that was a bit of a no-brainer. So for the ship one, I have associated the Princess Bride. I know, and it's so cool. I'm going to have so many good quotes on that. I already have a quote on it on another one. So that's what I did for the ship. For the Kraken, of course. So the Kraken is my Lenormand cross. Here's the Kraken dragging down. The cross is about heaviness and weight. And so in my fairy tale book, it's the Kraken that comes up and grabs the ships and pulls the ships down, right? So obviously, I had to pick 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So that was a bit of a no-brainer for me on that one. Some of them, most of these, it was literally, I just picked the first thing that came to my brain. I really did try not to overthink or over-censor what book I was going to associate with Clash of the Titans. Yes, good one, Joey. Good one. I might have to add another one in. I just rewatched that, actually. Yeah, I really tried not to overthink it. I just tried to, grab what I was gonna grab. This one I chose for my Lenormand Tower. This is the air balloon. The tower in Lenormand is about getting perspective. It's like getting up high enough so you can see ahead, right? So it's getting a good, clear view of things. And so I was super excited to find an air balloon. And of course, I had to pick Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah, Clash of the Titans was a good one. I definitely might have to snag a picture of that as well. I'm not opposed to movies. Like, movies are storytelling just as much as books. It's just a different format. Most of the time my brain just went to books because I am a big person. So, there are some movies in here. But of course, for the balloon, I had to do Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. For sure. What else do we have over here? Oh, I found this one. This one is The Rose and the Thorns. It's both, right? So this for me is about, oops, sorry, I got to go up here. That's about duality. There is beauty and there is a rose, but there are also the thorns. On the back of this, it says life's a rose, but beware the thorns. So that one I thought was really cool because I really did, last time we talked about it, I was kind of using the mermaid that way, but I used the mermaid for my fish. But I really wanted to bring in that aspect of, fae stories, fairy tales. Like, you got to be careful. There is danger lurks in the magical forest, right? So I wanted a charm that spoke to that. I ended up using the book Winter Rose by Patricia McKillop. That book and Solstice Wood are one of my favorites. They are retellings of the Tam Lin myth. Or ballad, and they are really good examples of both the beauty of fae, but also the immense dangers, the dark side there as well. So I have Winter Rose there for that. Let's see. I'm trying to do this. I have a fairy wand. This is my Lenormand sun. So the Lenormand sun is about abundance and, things that were difficult. The sun has come out on a gloomy time, and all of a sudden the sun comes up and everything is better. So of course that moment of Cinderella, when she thinks all is lost, she's not going to go to the ball. That's not going to happen. And the fairy godmother comes in and waves her magic wand. So that's what I have here. I did get quite a couple of these. I don't know if they even still sell golden books, but they must, because this is the Disney one. But when I was little, they did golden books, because my dad, I know when I was really little, he worked at, and I think it was like a grocery store or something, but they sold these little golden books, and he would always bring a golden book back when I was little. So I'm a big fan of golden books. So there's that one. What else do we have? We have, the ring. I mean, come on now. Do I have to even say, this is just a real ring that I have in there. I like real rings in charm sets. They can fall on top of things and things can go inside of them. I mean, if you know me even a little bit, you know that it had to be Lord of the Rings, right? We have to have all three of them in here. My dad read these to us when we were kids. I read them to my kids all while they were growing up. My daughter read it to my son as he was passing over. The Lord of the Rings is huge deal to me. There are many, not just the books themselves, which inform a lot of modern fantasy, if not all of modern fantasy. My own writing is inspired by that back in the day. But then all of the emotional connections in my family to Lord of the Rings, that is a no-brainer. A no-brainer. The Postman Mail Golden Book. I'll have to look that one up. I'll have to look it up. Okay, this is not a next one. I found this. I wanted to find a sword. I wish this was a little smaller, although I do like things that point. But I thought this was very fairy tale, very sword in the stone feeling to that. So I have that sword. And so which one did I pull for? I think, did I get the Sword in the Stone? No, I have the Once and Future King. You should definitely read that by T.H. White. Classic King Arthur version, right? What are we talking about? Ralph Fiennes' Hades is big. Yes, definitely so. Definitely so. Okay, sorry. I should have just cut all these out so we could, but I needed to cut all these out, and so I thought, it would be fun just to talk about which ones I picked. Why not? Let's talk about books that go with Lenormand or go with charm messages. So for me, the sword one is the call to adventure. It's that moment when, are you going to take the sword and go on this adventure or not? It's that typical, we're in a fairy tale, we have the call to adventure. Are you going to seize the calling? Are you going to answer the call? So if it would come up in a reading and point towards something, it's like, look, this is your moment. Are you going to pick up this situation and deal with it, or are you not going to pick up this situation and deal with it? What are you going to do kind of energy to that one? I also have a knight. I ended up using the knight for my Lenormand scythe, which is about, I don't think I have. I'm going to write that down. Weird Stone of Brisingamen. Weird Stone, B-R-I-S, Brising. And I will look it up. I'm in the market for something. Okay, so I have my knight. because the knight is all about doing the work. It's not going to be easy work, or the scythe is all about doing the work. You could get hurt during the work, doing the work, but it's work that just has to get done. I was obsessed with Mark Twain's King Arthur and Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court. I loved anything to do with time travel. As you'll see, I think I also have The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Um, and so again, reading this back as an adult, I was like, okay, there's some problems there, but I still love it. And it works really well with the concept of the knight here, because he was obviously trying to bring modern implements to come in and make the work a little bit easier, maybe less life-threatening. And so it works really well with the scythe card. So that's what I picked. Now, I could not have a fairy tale charm set if I did not have a Thumbelina. I believe my mom had, I want to say it was, I want to say she had this tin, and I have it somewhere. I need to find it because she's got this old tin that she used to keep her buttons in, but it had some nursery rhyme fairy tale puzzles in it, little kid puzzles for when you're real little, like chunky puzzles, and they had different little stories on it. And I believe one of them might have been Thumbelina. I'm not sure. My parents, we didn't have a TV, so I remember whenever Land of the Lost was in black and white. Remember Land of the Lost and Lost in Space? I do remember watching a couple Land of the Losts. We had a black and white TV, little black and white TV, and it broke. This was before my parents got religious, so it wasn't about the religious part. But they said there just wasn't enough on there. We were big book readers. And so when it broke, they said, we didn't have the money, and they said it wasn't worth it. And I never had a TV after that. I was probably in like second or third grade, maybe second grade. I was pretty young, and we never had a TV after that until I was married. So it was just living at the library. We would rent back in the day, and I'm 53. Back in the day, you could read or you could rent movie projectors, and you could literally rent the reels, the big movie reels, and you would set it up on the projector. And we watched a lot of old musicals and old movies. We would set it up on the movie, and it was a big deal. So instead of just like sitting down and turning on the TV, it really was an experience. Like if we sat down to watch an old musical, it wasn't just that we had flicked the television on. We had like rented the projector and set the projector up and put the movie reel in, and it was like a big deal. Cleared the floor, got some popcorn, and so I have no regrets over not. There's many things about my childhood that I do regret, just in terms mostly religious, when they turned religious, but not having a TV is not something that I have any regrets about. We lived at the library. We read all the time. We played outside all the time. And when we did watch a movie or something like that, it was a big deal. And I have very, very fond memories of that. But anyway, so I think it was probably, I don't know how I got off on that topic, but I can't remember, but I remember being very young. They must have written Thumbelina. It could have been this, because we did have these golden books. And I became just obsessed with tiny things and fairies. My grandfather was Irish, so I was already obsessed with fairies. I fed the fairies. I put out milk. I put out honey or bread. I made fairy houses. I picked flower petals to leave in a pile in the fairy houses so that the fairies could make their clothes and their dresses. Like I was already obsessed with that. But once this, reading this, like I was just gone. So in my charm set, this is for that little hero, that size being irrelevant, the small magics that are actually really powerful, is how I have that in my charm set. So I don't know. I'm starting to think this was a silly idea to come and do this, because this is going to take forever, but oh well, right? I don't have nobody's forced to watch me babble about books. Oh my goodness. Yes, Land of the Lost, they didn't, they lived in the caves too, but they like fell between these caves, and it took them. I read Journey to the Center of the Earth. That was one of the paperbacks that my dad had as well. And so that idea of like falling into this other world where there's dinosaurs and creatures was just, I was just obsessed with that kind of thing. I loved this idea of falling into a completely different space than our own. Hello, Mr. Chris. Let's see, what's next? Okay, these two, come on. Okay. I do a lot of animal reading, so I'm big on animal guardian energy. It's something I work with a lot. I do readings for people, like animal check-in readings with people. I have a lot of animal decks. The pig, I don't care what. Look at this charm. I sent a picture of this, I think, to Miss Jamie and to Miss Deirdre, and I'm like, do you want one of these? Because how could you not want one of these? I don't know how to get it, you be able to see it good. It is a little glass pig. Look at, oh, it's not going to, it's kind of see-through. Like, look at how cute this is. But in a deck, I don't care what the keyword says for the pig. It's usually like good fortune or something, like a big, abundance, like, having a big pig to roast, having a pig roast or something like that. For me, it's Wilbur. Like, I cannot disassociate pigs and spiders with Wilbur and Charlotte's Web. I love Charlotte's Web, the book, and the movie, but I love the book. So I have a spider and a pig, and so I put them on the same page, like across from each other. The pig is about humility and just reward, and the spider is also my Lenormand snake, that it's complicated, because the story of Charlotte is complicated. Like, she's trying to do this thing before she dies. Like, she's trying to help save Wilbur. She's trying to give birth to her children before she dies. So it's so sad when you're, especially even now, it's like, oh, I just love Charlotte's Web so much. And so I can't disassociate those things. So that's what they are. So I, of course, picked Charlotte's Web for both of those. So that's I should have printed it bigger so I could like make it span half the page, half and half. But pigs for me, I love pigs, and I don't care again what comes up in a book, right, or in a deck for pigs. I just ignore it, and I'll say it in my client readings, like, I know what this says, but this is Wilbur, and let me talk to you about Wilbur. Right? That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So that was for the pig and the spider. So in this system, like I said, I like systems. I don't, oh yeah, you need to be very careful. That's fairy magic. I like things that have a basis of a system. So for example, my charm sets have, always have a base of Lenormand behind it. It's the significator system really works for charm casting. But I also have, like with my regular set, I also have a geomancy undercore to it. And on this set, I have it's very much based on sort of directionality, guardians, council members. And so I have a guardian for each of the elements. And the crow is one of my own animal guardian spirits. So, the crow is very important, obviously, to have in there. The raven or the crow, I interchange them. Of course, I had to pick The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, come on, folks. Do you know me or do you know me? That's the first thing that came to mind. Giving those messages that you don't always want to hear, but you need to hear. Quoth the raven, nevermore, right? I think I have a video where I read that. I read The Raven on video. So, of course, I had to have The Raven. The next one I have here is a windmill. And, of course, it's like, for me, this symbol is, what are you chasing? Are you chasing illusions, right? It's kind of like the My brain just fried. It's kind of like the, oh my goodness, my brain just blanked because I'm not thinking tarot. But anyways, it's the illusion symbol. It's this idea of, are you really chasing reality, or are you chasing windmills? So I have, of course, Don Quixote as the book for that one. That was a no-brainer as well. And again, as I said, all of these were no-brainers. What is the first thing that came to my head? Bam, that's the book. So that's for the windmill one. And that's about illusions. And it's good to have a charm or card like that, because sometimes we're going after the wrong things and we need to be aware of that. So I quite like that. The next charm I have here, and you can see I didn't put these in any order because I put things in and out of my charms, and I wanted to be able to just add the next charm in and not get something out of order. I've had this one for a long time. It was my clouds in my other set until I found a perfect clouds, but this is my clouds in Lenormand. It's kind of that smoke that's billowing out, but also just the story of it. If you think about a genie and this idea of making these wishes and how we can really our judgment can get cloudy over what's important. So it works really well here. So of course I have Aladdin, and the Arabian Nights, although I thought I was getting the cover that said, what is the name? That's not the real title of the book. It's, what is it? 1001. My brain, I got too many things in front of me and my brain's frying. This isn't, I think, the book cover that I had wanted to snag, but we'll just stick it there for now. But here we have Aladdin and the Arabian Nights for the lamp. I was so excited to find this one too. So this is a little glass rainbow bead. And what I did, because with charms, you might not, but I need to be able to tell when it's face down or face up. And so obviously this was the same on both sides. So I painted the clouds black on one side, and then the normal white on the other. That way I know if it's face down or face up. And so this one, I mean, I can start, again, problematic movie, but I was in love with this movie. Fred Astaire's Finian's Rainbow. There's a great song, Look to the Rainbow. Look to the rainbow, follow it over the hills and streams, something like that. I think Petula Clark sings it. I love Petula Clark. And I massively love with Fred Astaire. This was his last movie that he made. And I was in Amsterdam when he died. I had been in Africa. We stopped in Amsterdam on the way home. I was 18 and he had died. And I grieved for Fred Astaire. I loved Fred Astaire movies. I wanted to be the queen of tap dancing. I just loved him so much. So anyways, Finian's Rainbow is the name of that musical. Some definite problematic areas in it, rewatching it, but I did love it when I was young. Okay, let's see what's next. Of course, I have for my rider, I have a unicorn. And I wanted to get a stately unicorn looking one, not a rainbow bright unicorn looking one. Obviously, I had to get, where is it? Oh, here, right in front of me. This one didn't print. The color tone did not print well. My ink might be going at this point from all these printing. Of course, I had to get The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. There is a Last Unicorn tarot deck. I love the book, The Last Unicorn, but I'm not like a huge unicorn fan, so it's not a deck that, really appealed to me. I think that Lisa Pappas she is like a Last Unicorn fanatic like I am about other things, and so she did a really good walkthrough of the deck that I enjoyed, even though it wasn't a deck I would buy, but I enjoyed it. So Last Unicorn for sure. Then of course I had to get a lighthouse. I actually have a lighthouse in my other charm set. For me, it's about hope. It's also what I love about lighthouse. I'm obsessed with lighthouse energy right now. Obviously, working on my Nelly's deck. Look at this little ceramic one that I got. Um, it's not just about you being out in the water and seeing the light, but it's also about the person who is lighting the lamp, and is being that light for somebody else as well. So there's that correlation between the foghorn. It has similar interesting correlations that way as well. But this is about hope. This one literally makes me cry because I am obsessed with the movie Pete's Dragon. I had this record when I was younger, and I love Helen Reddy, and I remember having this record, the soundtrack record of this on just rinse and repeat, play it over and over and over again. And the song "Candle on the Water," where Helen Reddy is standing on the lighthouse and singing, like, look it up on YouTube. You can watch the scene, and she's so full of hope that her love is still alive, but she's also shining the light for her love to find his way home, right? So it's that both those connotation of having hope, but also giving hope to somebody else. Like, let's put some hope out there into the world, as well as just trying to find our own hope. So obviously, I had to do Pete's Dragon, but specifically I was looking for one with this scene. Yes, being a beacon. Exactly. Thank you, Heather. I really wanted one that had Helen Reddy on the lighthouse there for sure. So there's the lighthouse. I mean, we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. I don't know why. I was like, I'll just get in there and get out in an hour. But of course not. Of course not. Let's see. The next one I have is the wolf. This is one of my guardians. This is Guardian of Earth. This is one of my actual guardians, as well as one of my charm set guardians. So I have this wolf charm. I have quite a few different wolf charms, but because my other guardians were a little bit bigger charms, I wanted it to kind of be equally balanced. So that's why I chose that one. Of course, I had to do Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild by Jack London was a book I read when I was younger that had such an impact on me. Now, I was obsessed with wolves quite early on. I had a lot of dreams of wolves. Again, wolf energy and bear energy. And then raven was later. I was a young adult with crow and raven, but wolf and bear have been around since I was very young. Some of my first memories are of bear and wolf guardian energy. And so I was really obsessed with it. Really the power of the book called The Wild. There is, a new movie version of Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. It's fantastic. No, not Call of the Wild. Was it Call of the Wild? That they just didn't know. It's the other one. What's the one that just came out with Harrison Ford? I also read that book at the same time. That's why I think I'm stuck on it. Oh, what is that called? Does anybody know what that newer movie? Is it Call of the Wild? I think it is Call of the Wild. Somebody maybe will know. I'm gonna quit asking the question because my brain's not gonna pop to it. It's really good. Whichever one it was, I went and saw it in the movie theaters, but I was I had a lot of trepidation over going to see it. Because I really was hoping that it would do justice and put the focus of the attention on the dog and not on like Harrison Ford. But it was really fantastic. I really loved the new movie of it, whatever it is. I'll look it up here. Let's not leave people hanging because nobody's saying, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. How would I look that up quickly? Oh, I can't because my keyboard is down there. Sorry, folks. Look up Harrison Ford's newest movie with a dog in it. I'm really having a brain freeze moment. Like I said, I've got too many books in front of me. So, what is Chris is saying, I love Pete's Dragon, but Puff the Magic Dragon. I did too. Yes, Peter, Paul, and Mary going in kids' room and singing. That's awesome. You did not know who they were. Oh, what an amazing memory. Oh, love it, and love it. I did love that. Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea and frolic. Oh, you know what the other book I was? Thank you, Heather. It is Call of the Wild. The other book was White Fang. I should have printed that out. I probably will add that as well, because I remember I think is White Fang by Jack London as well. I think so, because I remember I had both of those books. So this is Call of the Wild. The other one is White Fang. That I read, and I was really obsessed with both of those books. Thank you, Miss Heather. They did a good job. I really thought they did a good job with the movie, and I was quite worried about it because I thought they wouldn't put the focus where it belonged, and they did. They did a good job. Okay, so moving along, we're on the last row of them. We're on the last row. For my coffin card for Lenore, my coffin symbol, I have this tombstone with an arm breaking up out of the ground. I mean, come on. I could have done a lot of things here. Obviously, I could have done Buffy the Vampire Slayer. How many scenes in Buffy did, like arms reach out of the grave? I have a skeleton hand. I was going to use the tomb for a zombie, but I decided to use that because I had to have a vampire story. But of course, look, we've got to go back to the original Dracula by Bram Stoker, of course. So this is about endings and rebirths, which of course vampires are as well. But I could definitely add a Buffy because I was obsessed with Buffy. If you've never watched the Buffy series, I think it's a little bit hard to go back, but just power through the first season. The first season's pretty bad, to be honest, but push through because it gets good. It gets good. So the next one that I had, let's see, what do I have here? Yeah, I have the skeleton hand. I had this as a mountain, but I have a different mountain. But that's that feeling of just getting grabbed. I have a set of, something just grabbing hold and not letting go. That I have handcuffs in my regular set. So I have that, and I can't even remember which one did I choose, or did I not get this one yet? Oh, I did. I must be missing a page. I ended up getting the book, Forest of Hands and Teeth. Oh, here, it's right in front of me. There are so many, right? I've read probably every zombie book there is to read, possibly. Certainly a good lot of them. But when I thought about this feeling of grasping, if you've ever read I wouldn't say The Forest of Hands and Teeth is like the best book ever. It's not like a big favorite of mine, but it did really give that horror of being in confined spaces and people like grabbing and grasping and being in the water and hands coming up and grabbing you. So I did choose The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. But again, there are many. It's certainly not my favorites. My favorite zombie books, probably The Girl with All the Gifts. That's a pretty good movie too. Not great, but Girl with All the Gifts is one of my favorites ever. It's a very different take on it, and it's really well done. I love Warm Bodies, the book, more than the movie, but the movie's okay. Cheesy, but good. All zombie movies are cheesy, but good, or not always good. I also love Shaun of the Dead is one of the best zombie movies, period. Super funny, super getting to powerful points. It will make you laugh. It will make you cry. Shaun of the Dead is really fantastic. Smart, super smart. 28 Days Later. I like them all. The whole Walking Dead season. Love them all, right? So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the zombie genre. Okay, what do I got next? I got A Mermaid Tale. I Am Legend, but truthfully, Joey, let's you and I talk about that. Really, I Am Legend, the movie looks more like zombies, But I Am Legend is about vampires. Just saying. Just saying. I should have put that one in the vampire one. I was really irritated. I love the movie I Am Legend. I love it as a standalone movie. I hate the ending. It totally ruins the whole concept of the book. Completely ruins the whole concept of the book. But I love it as a movie. Like, just to watch the movie, I think it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. But in terms of it with the book, it's not good enough. And let's sorry. We take our Ash versus Evil Dead. Nice. I have a mermaid tail actually in my other one. This is a different one. I quite love the look of this one. So obviously I have to do a Little Mermaid. I did not choose, although I did love the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid Disney movie came out when my son was born, because my son was born premature and with lots of health problems, and so was in the hospital for a long time after he was born. And I remember my mom came to the hospital and sat with him while my ex and I went to see The Little Mermaid, because I'm a Disney fan. And I had determined after watching that movie that my daughter's name would be Ariel. I'm that mom. I did not name her Ariel, but I have a niece whose name is Ariel. But this is, oops, go this way. Here we have The Little Mermaid. This is not the Disney cover album. So for me, that is about mysteriousness, is about going into the depths. But I do have it associated with resources with the fish, because look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Doesn't it make my collection complete? So I have it in my fish card for Lenormand. So that's what we have there. Castle is next. This, I gotta remember which one. This is a black castle. I have a castle for the house, Lenormand house, in my other set as well. But I love this black castle here. What did I choose? I think I chose Beauty and the Beast for this one. Yeah, I think I chose Beauty and the Beast for this one because so much takes place in the castle. But I also, no, East of the Sun, West of the Moon, I did for the bear. So yeah, I did Beauty and the Beast because I love the castle and this going to this kind of empty, desolated castle, but then it kind of coming to life over the course of the story. Obviously, I love all the books about Beauty and the Beast. I love Patricia McKilloch's renditions. I love Robin McKinley's renditions. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Beauty and the Beast. Good, well done, Beauty and the Beast. Next, we do have the bear. I have a couple. I found another bear for my other charm set. I did not find, bear was like mice. I had a really hard time finding a bear for years. And then I found this one and I was so excited. It says Mama Bear. But I found another bear for my, just the other week, for my other charm set. Let me see if I can grab it, because I was really happy to find it. Now, of course, I can find bears everywhere, but I didn't used to be able to find any bears. I found this bear for my other set. But this one, the bear is really, my bear is one of my most active guardian energies. So Mama Bear is definitely fitting. And that one, I did choose the story East of the Sun, West of the Moon, which is a fairy tale that you should read. Okay, and there's obviously a lot of different books renditions of the story, but I liked this image. We're almost there, folks. I'm sure some of you are sleeping, but look, we get to talk about books. Books are fun. So the Querent and the Significant, I have these adorable little gnome charms, kind of gnomish, Christmassy charms, which where's Frosty? Oh, he's over there, which I really love. And so that's what I have is those. And I don't think it's Netflix. I don't know who has this movie. Is it Netflix? I could be wrong. Maybe it's Amazon Prime. But there is a movie called Klaus that is fantastic. We need a cramp. That would not quite be the Querent. That could be something very creepy and good. I do have a Sasquatch. That's my best bet for that. But this movie I think is fantastic. It's about loss. It's about the power of myth and story. It really, to me, gets to the spirit of Santa Claus. I'm a big Christmas person. Look, I was in 5th grade. Let's have therapy. I was in 5th grade and my parents said, we're not doing Christmas anymore. We're not doing Easter anymore. We're not doing all this stuff, but Christmas. I was in 4th grade because I'm going into 5th grade. To have your parents say you're never going to do Christmas again is devastating. And so when I got married and we started doing Christmas myself, Christmas was a big deal. Big deal. Big deal. And again, my son was sick. He had a terminal illness his whole life until he was 23. And so Christmas was a big deal. Every moment to just like soak in those memories together was a big deal. So I'm a big Christmas fan. And Klaus, to me, really gets to that spirit of Christmas and dealing with loss and dealing with, but still providing hope out into the world. So I recommend it. If you haven't watched this movie, I would definitely recommend it, that you watch it. There's also, I'm going to sneeze. There's some great clothing. These little gnome charms reminded me of some of the Sami clothing that was worn in there. Is it Netflix? Thank you, Heather. I know it's like all of this is like therapy, right? What are the books of your childhood that come forward? So we have that. Okay. So next one I have here is the tree charm. So I love this tree. I think you can get this at Joann Fabrics. I saw it there just recently, even though I've had this for a long time. I really love this because it can grasp over the top. So if you cast some charms, it can kind of go over the top and show you where some of those issues that you need to pull under the tree is. I really like the size of this. It makes a really good covering a grabbing charm. So that's my tree for Lenormand, which is your health, your well-being, slow growth. And of course I had to do the growing tree by Shel Silverstone. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but that was a bit of a no-brainer. Klaus is awesome. And old stop motion Christmas movie called The Life and Adventure of Santa. Oh, I feel like I haven't seen that one, which would really surprise me, Mr. Chris. I'm going to have to check that one out. Okay. So that is for the tree, of course. For my Lenormand whip, so the whip card is about, or the whip symbol, or the rod of the whip in Lenormand is about where we get stuck, right? We sort of get trapped in these patterns that are not useful to us, right? And so I associated that one with the clock. And this idea of getting trapped in patterns and cycles and watching these patterns and cycles. And so, of course, I had to do The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Come on. Of course, that was what we had to do here. I'm convinced that Sami people are the real world antecedents to mythical gnomes. Possibly their clothes, their hats. I know. They're definitely very powerful, very mystical. Of course, much of my genetic history and family history, obviously, is Northern traditions. And so, yeah, I find them to be very mystical energy. Okay, we're almost there, folks. I promise. And then we'll throw some of this down so you can see what we do with it. Let's see, where was that? That goes in the clock. So that's the clock. So then we have the anchor. The anchor, I actually did an odd one. I think people are going to be like, what are you doing? This is my anchor, just a good old fashioned anchor here. I did the Unbearable Lightness of Being. So with my Lenormand deck, my anchor card has a whole bunch of lines going out to it, but it's really based on my concept of the Unbearable Lightness of Being from Milan Kundera. If you haven't read the book, he's a genius of writing, in my opinion. He's one of my favorite authors. He's the genius of all of these like breadcrumbs or little scenes and vignettes. And then at the end of the book, he like pulls the cord and like pulls everything together. And you're like, oh, like, wow, that kind of thing. But the one of the big concepts of the book, Unbearable Lightness of Being, is that if you look at Christian imagery and Christian language, it's about heaviness, right? It's about weight. It's about bearing our burdens, about carrying the cross. But the author was Czechoslovakian, and when communism came in and detached all of those things, there is also can be something equally unbearable about lightness and being disconnected and not having those tethers and not having those roots, right? And so for my anchor book, I chose The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. So there's that one. I feel like people will be like, okay, you lost me with that one, but it works. It works. My next charm is for the Lenormand dog. It's about trust and friendship. So of course, come on, it's a fairy tale, and I'm a huge fanatic of Frosty the Snowman. I love the song. I love the movie. I love Frosty the Snowman. I'm not going to sing it for you. So that is just somebody you trust. You cannot look in the face. Look, come on, folks. You can't look in that face and not trust him. He is somebody that you can trust. He will be back again someday. Don't tell me I don't love some cheese. I love a little cheesy goodness. So my dog or friendship trust energy is Frosty the Snowman, because there's a lot of things about fairy tales that you should not trust in, but Frosty the Snowman, you should trust. You should trust. Okay, we're down to 3 more that I have books for. Here we have the Stag. This is my Divine Masculine. I also have Bridget for my Divine Feminine in this charm casting set. But clearly, I mean, come on. We have to have Bambi's father. Like, he is just that epic stag energy that's standing at the edge of the woods. So much strength, so much power, resting in the liminal space. It's such a powerful scene in Bambi when, we see his father and we're like, oh, wow, yeah. He is full of old world liminal space power. So that's what I have for my stag. I don't have Bridget's story yet. I have to see what I want to pick for that. So I wanted them to be across the page from each other. So the next one was Adore. I really actually struggled with this one. I love this. So this charm, sorry, no, this one does better. Yes, the White Stag from Snow White also. Yes. There's another movie that's more recent. Is it Maleficent? I love Maleficent. I didn't love the second movie as much, but the first movie with Angelina Jolie that's called Maleficent, I thought that was a fantastic movie. And I think I may be wrong, but I feel like there's this moment when she enters into fairy world where there is this stag moment with like really cool, but I could also be thinking of The Huntsman. I can't remember now. But I love this door charm. The little door actually opens here, which I love. But I really struggled with what this was going to be, whether it was going to be home. I originally thought I might use it for the actual house, but I wanted it for, like I said, this my charm set does have a bit of a system that's at play here, right? I know it's too bright to probably see anything, but I have, like, again, the Council of Three, the Guardians of the Element, the Tools of the Magician, the Key of the Direction, but I also have the Adventure Cycle because this is all about story, right? And so I wanted to have the Sword as the call to adventure. I have the Rose and Thorn as the challenges and the allies, but I have the Castle as like coming back, like when you return home. But I wanted something to represent the passage, that movement in between. So I ended up using the door for that idea of passage into the liminal space. So, yeah, exactly. Going into Wonderland, going into Fae. So I used a really great book for this, which is The Door in the Hedge by Robin McKinley. I don't know if you've ever read it, but you really should read all of her. Not all of her. She's got a couple that I think are not my favorites, but almost every Robin McKinley books I love. And Door in the Hedge is a really fantastic, feels like an old world fairy tale. Really well done. So that's what I chose for The Door in the Hedge. For the door. Oops, now I shut my page here. So I can stick it in the right page. Doorway. And then the last one that I have a book for, I still have this little baggie here. We'll look at that in a second. The last one is, I have fairy stones. So I grew up with them as fairy stones. I think people call them hag stones. There's another stone, maybe witches stones, but I know I've heard hag stones, but I grew up with them as fairy stones. And so what they are, I have some of those, but I didn't want, they're bigger and bulkier. I didn't want to have them banging around and getting broken. I have them in magical places, but this is like a metal version of a stone. That's terrible. A hagstone. Discover is on the side of it, but there's a hole through it. So the idea of a fairy stone is that if you look through it, right, you can see into the other world. You can see fairy, if there are any fey creatures about, you can see them and you can see into that other perspective there. So that's what I have for that. And I, of course, if you've taken any of my Into the Woods lit classes that I teach, the last one we did was a book called The Highland Witch, but the original name was Korag, which is based on a real person. But this book is by Susan Fletcher. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's fantastic. But what I absolutely love about Korag is that she definitely, in the story, she definitely saw the world in a much different way than other people did. She was able to really see through and have a perspective on the world and on people that other people did not. And so for my fairy stone, I'm using the book Korag by Susan Fletcher. Again, and you can find it in a couple different titles. You can find it. I recommend the Audible book if you're an Audible person. That would be under Highland Witch by Susan Fletcher. The narrator is really fantastic. And so if you like to be read to, which I love, I'm a book person, but I love Audible. I love to be able to be read to. I think we stopped being read to way too early in life. Why is this not? Oh, because I have all these things down in the corner. So that's the books that I have so far. So let's look at what I don't have real quick. I was on a roll. I was like on a roll one night, like just looking up like, okay, what is this? Bam. This is that. Oh yeah, bam. And again, I didn't overthink it. I tried not to overcomplicate it. I just went with what was right. So what I'll be doing is I'll be sticking these into their pages. And then as you can see here, writing quotes, not some from the book, but also just any quotes that come to mind about that particular, what goes with the keywords of that particular book. So that is my plans for this kind of guidebook to my fairy charms here. Okay, let's see. So those are all the ones that are done, which is a majority of my set. Oops, this one is done. Let me pull this so we can see these a little bit better. Did we get any paper crafting done today? No, but that's okay. We got to talk about books. These are charms that I don't have separate pages for necessarily, because they have different meanings that I don't want to get taken away from the basic functions. These are more functioning. So if you watch I have a whole nother video on setting up this. I've changed some things, but I have a whole video about it. But the key components here are the 4 directions. And then I have the ways in which we work with energy: cutting, stirring, consuming, and weaving. Look at this little charm I found. Oh, can you see that? It's little knitting needles with yarn wrapped around it. I do have to make a mark on one side so I can see, although this is more about how to utilize energy. So I really don't much need these to be face down or face up, because these are the tools. These are the directions. And then these are the numbers, which I just have my own keyword meanings for numbers. So those aren't getting books associated with them. And that's because they really need to stand as functional in the charm casting set, not as having meanings or connotations like that put to them. So these are the ones that I have left, that I have to find stories for. I have my mushroom, which is my garden for community. I have my letter in the bottle. I have my Bridget charm. She's the lady to the stag's lord. This is my lord. This is my lady there. I have a cat. I didn't really want to do, like, obviously Alice in Wonderland comes into mind, which would work. I could do the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. So I could do Alice in Wonderland with that. I have a compass. I have the lotus. I have that little mirror that I just showed that I just got from that lovely lady. That will obviously be mirror, mirror on the wall. I definitely have the fair. This is like 6 1/4 cents fair. This I have associated with the ferryman. You know, have your money for the ferryman to take you over the river Styx. So I need to pull up a myth for that. I have the Phoenix, which I could do like the Hunger Games or something like that. I have a little acorn. I need to think of what I'm going to use that for. I have the bouquet. I have the mountains. I have Sasquatch. And then I have the moon, which is the moon has awoken. The spell is now broken. I said Sasquatch. I have the swallow. And I have my mouse in this one, which is poison, something that's eating away. So these are the ones that I need to find books or movies or stories to correlate with them. And then I will have the whole set associated. So I'm keeping them separate because I don't want to figure out which ones. Actually, no, I think I wrote them all in here. Let me make sure. Yes. Okay. So I did go through and write them with their keywords already. So I can actually throw those in with the rest, other than the mirror. So I'm going to keep the mirror out because I need to add a page for that. So there's the whole set there. So for the people who've made it this far and were asking what I do with these. So a charm set is, and again, I have a bunch of videos on charm casting on my channel that you can watch. I definitely show, actually I should put this in a basket so we can cast them. If I'm going to grab just a few out, like I talked more about the, I like the Snow White. I don't have a Snow White yet. I'm not sure how to say your name. Batarsius? I'm so sorry. No clue. But I like that. I don't have a Snow White. Nope. I have Cinderella. I have Beauty and the Beast. I don't have Sleeping Beauty either. Could Sleeping Beauty be... Anyways, but yeah, that's a good one with the poison apple. I like that. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you. If you look at the other video, and I'll try to link it down below once I'm done with the live, but if you, I talk a little bit more about charm casting and how to utilize it, how to grab just a few and throw it on cards or cast a whole shebang. When you're casting the whole shebang, this is when it becomes important to have like an underlying system, because you can't look at every single charm on the table. You have to have a way to say, okay, well, my client is wanting to do a general reading, so we're going to look to the querent charm and what's clumped around it. We're going to look at what's being pointed to by certain cards. We're going to look to the symbols. We're going to look to the 4 directions. We're going to look to the anchor if we are looking at work issues. We're going to look at the heart if we're looking for love. We're going to look at the ring if we're looking at a relationship. So it helps to narrow down, what you're looking at, because it's really hard to look at the whole thing. Every single charm, you can't read them all in one reading. So having an underlying system does help, is my rambly point. I'm going to go ahead and cast this, but I'm going to mute the video because it's very loud. I love the sound of it. I love the sound of the shaking in the basket. Oh, yes, Mulan would be good, Deirdre, for Lotus. Oh, you are... Let's get down to business and defeat the Huns. Did you send me daughters? When something about sons, I don't know. I love that one. I also would love to get Quest for Camelot in there somewhere. So I need to see if because I love that movie, Quest for Camelot. The soundtrack for Quest for Camelot is amazing. I could do that for the swallow, bird, maybe. I don't know. I got to think about that one. Okay. I'm going to mute this real quick and cast it down so it doesn't hurt your ears when I cast it. I do this for clients as well. I'm like, please take your headphones out or mute the sound. I don't have a fox. I love the Disney Robin Hood. That movie is so fantastic. But for this set, instead of the fox, I use the and which is funny because I have lots of fox charms, but I have fox in my regular set, and in this one I used a cat for something different. So when you cast down, obviously, if you look at this, you're going to be like, whoa, right? How do I start doing a reading? You want to look at things that catch your eye, right? What are the things that are catching your eye and grabbing your attention? You really want to lean into your intuition. You're going to want to, again, if your question is about work, then I would find the anchor and I would say, okay, what's going on? There's a sense of mastery here, but mastering our passion is needed somehow in regards to the work situation, because we do see some cloudy things. You're not really going after that rainbow. You may be talking about what you want to have for work, but you're not actually pursuing it, right? So you're going to pay attention to that. You'll look for the, if you're look for your querent card, you see what's going on. There's some need to cut some things. And because the fire within is face down, the Phoenix Guardian, we need to bring that into being in some way. We're going to look at the sense of security, blah, 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 right? There's no reading on the table. But my point is that when you have significators, you're then able to just hone in on specific areas instead of getting overwhelmed, right? If you want to know what's dragging you down and what's pulling you down, you're going to look around the Kraken symbol here, right? If you're looking to see where are your fortunes, well, they're kind of off here on their own, and you might need to be doing some cutting of negative energy to get to your fortunes that are over here. So, the door is face down. This clump would definitely have something I pay attention to. See how that branch is covering over things? So I'm going to pay attention to this. It's over a season of autumn. It's over the crown, and the door is face down over, I think that's the lucky charm, face down. Yeah, the luck. So we may have to open that door because it isn't easily accessible right now. Again, I don't believe in fake readings. You know, you're looking at something and trying to make meaning, and there is no meaning there because you haven't asked a question. But I'm just kind of showing how you can cast everything down and then go where your eye draws you. A lot of times you'll find lines that you're going to follow where you'll start with one place and you'll go. You know, maybe I've been having, like, I have had a lot of dreams. Last night I had a crazy night full of flying. So I would probably look around grandmother energy, not that she flew, but she flew under, you know, she'd swoop up and it has that sort of feeling of it. So I might look around Moana's grandmother energy here and pay attention to that message. It just depends on what I'm doing the reading on. It allows you to hone in. Where do you need to pick up the sword? What is the sword pointing to? I need to grab my sword and go into the depths, right? Again, depending on your question at hand. And if you're doing a general reading, I treat it very much like processing a grand tableau. Look to the significator card, look, or the parent card symbol, look to the work if they want work, look to romance if they're looking for romance, look to you know, all the places that they're interested in, right? Bye, Miss Kelly Bear. I'm going to be wrapping this up as well. But I wanted to, a couple people didn't know what we were doing with these, and this is kind of what you do with charm casting. And then the other thing that you can do, I know I showed this last time, but we have new people watching. Put them back in there. The other thing that you can do is pull a card. I just cut this out. I need to fray it a little bit. So one of my main casting mats is this one, which I absolutely love. But I've had this for years. I was talking to Deirdre about this, but I've had this for, it has to be at least 2 years. This was a fabric that's made to be like a cushion, a cushion cover, or make a cover for a cushion, but it frays really nice. Now I just cut it so you can't really tell, but as it frays, you get some of these colors into the fray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around the edge, right? I'm going to sew a little ways in all around the edge so that this can fray out, because I really liked how it frayed before. You can see I did that with this one, where I sewed all along the edge and allowed a little bit of that fray to come out. So I just cut this. This is my favorite size. It fits my desk. But how beautiful is that for charm casting for fairies? Plus, I work with the symbol of the tree, what's up in the branches for clarity, what's at the trunk that we should be paying attention to, what's down here in the roots, right? So I thought that was so pretty. But you can do where you pull an oracle card, right? Or a tarot card, or whatever you want to pull. You pull your card and set it in the middle as sort of an overarching theme. Shaka, 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 shaka. You know, get in there. This is when I like it in the bag better. Get in there, and as you're talking about your question, be stirring about your charms, and then just grab that random handful and cast your message. So you have your main theme of the card, or could be 3 tarot cards. This is great to do with like an elemental tarot or oracle reading, and then cast the charms on top of the cards, and the cards become positions, right? So if you pulled 4 tarot cards for the elements, which is something I like to do a lot. So I would put it down here for fire, put it down here for earth, put it in a great with a square deck like the Augenblick. And then so fire, air, water, and earth is how I do it. So then you would do that regular reading, and then again you would be shake a shake a shake a shake a, grab your handful of charms, shake them up, cast them, and where those charms land on. So now this is in the position of water. I've already gotten my message from the card, and now I can pull in another layer of meaning with the charms on top of it. Obviously, you can do this with runes and oghams and anything you want to cast, but I really like to do it for charm casting as well. So again, I know I've already said this in other charm casting videos, but I guess I threw it on here so that anybody watching this is like, what are you doing with all these? That's what we do with them. So Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I ever think I can do an hour video live. There's just too many things to talk about. We had all those books to talk about. But it was good to hang out with you. I need to get some other work done. I'm sure you have other things to do, but it was fun to talk about books. I love the idea of it. I think the Childwick is back out in print, isn't it? Because I do think that something like the Childwick that is a very empty. Also, I should grab that. Also, the what is that called? I'm blanking. Is it the Secret Forest? Not the Secret Forest. Let me grab it. What is the forest one that is super wide open too? I'm completely blanking on the Lost Forest. Yes. And this goes with that fairy. Like you step into the forest. Oh my goodness, yes. The Secret Forest or the Lost Forest. This is the first edition, I think, or is this the second edition? This is the first edition. I actually like the first edition better. Because I like that I can read the titles. I have bad eyesight. It's not the creator's fault. It's my eyes' fault. But this is like going into the Lost Forest, which is exactly what my fairy tale one is about, right? Let's move this because that's kind of busier. But it's got a lot of open spaces to the cards. Now, obviously, we got court cards, so you can't see it as much. But like the numbered cards are open spaces that link together. And I think that would be really beautiful with some charms. And then again, you read your reading and then you cast your charms on top. But it is, yes, it definitely, Laura, I would say my biggest recommendation for people is when they're going to just slowly gather charms, because I, didn't get these overnight. That's for sure. Well, so I do sometimes like hit a good sale and then I'll get a bunch. But I really recommend putting in your purse or your planner or your phone the 36 Lenormand symbols. And then, because it doesn't have to be the exact symbol, but it's that you have a place to go to those significators. And then you can just start compiling a list. You find one here, you find one there. Look for found objects, right? While this still has some found, not as many. I mean, these are all charms. Whereas my base set, I've got videos about that. A lot of these are random things that you look in your junk drawers, look in your grandma and your mom's, jewelry boxes of bits and bobs. It's really fun to put found objects in, as well as specific charms that you can get, and then you just slowly start to accumulate them until all of a sudden, when you're ready, you've got these the set kind of ready to go over there. Oh, you did get, so yes, his brother. I thought so, Chris, that his brother was bringing it back. But yes, I think the Childwick would be really great for that, all those open rooms to be able to. Also, the House of Rising Spades playing cards would be great as well. It's got rooms as well in the aces. But yeah. Okay, I am going to wrap this. I guess we'll do that another time. I want to put like facing pages. I was trying to find something that looked like the coloration here. So I was going to put these into here. I also have some washi tape and some stickers to add into the places, but we didn't quite get there yet. But that's okay. The best laid plans, right, turn into let's just talk about books. Chris says, I'm sorry, I can't see. Let's put my glasses on. Chris says, which of the Brian Froud oracles is the one that you love? I love them both. I have them mixed right now. For quite a while, I've had them mixed. But my favorite one, there's Fairies and there's Heart of Fairies. I have a video comparing them. Now I've used them both for so long. One of them is more cohesive. And I think it's the Fairies, not the Heart of Fairies. Has a more cohesive system. skim through my video. I know it's long, but I do have a video about that. And I really go into, because there is a difference. Now, I kind of do what I want with them. His fairies are so close to the way that I see actual fairies and fae energy that it's just super easy to deep dive into it. But one of the guidebooks is much better than the other in terms of cohesiveness, in terms of us kind of feel intentional, because these were obviously pre-existing artworks. And so many pre-existing artwork decks kind of falter under not feeling like they were cohesive in their energies. And so one of them, I'll have to skim back through, because again, I've been using them the last while all together as one big giant Fae deck. I'll show that, I guess, while we're talking about it. So I have them all together in one giant deck so that I can have all of it in one thing. And I've actually been enjoying it this way. I've kept it this way for quite a while now. I've done both. I've had them separated. I've had them together. I've had them, back and forth, where I've gone back and forth between them. But I do, I've been keeping them mixed together. The one that I had originally was the Heart of Fairy, I think. Because then I got rid, it must be because I got rid of Heart of Fairy and then it came back to me. They were like, oh, no, you can't do that. So I think it's the Fairies one that I find to be, which is this one here. Yes, because I love the sort of elemental primal energies that is in this deck. So I think it's the Fairies one that I think is the most cohesive. I love that. But I don't even know if you can get these though, Chris. Have you looked? Because I feel like, are they both out of print or one of them's out of print? You may not have a choice, because I think there's only one that's still in print. I can't, the Heart of Fairy was my very first Oracle deck. I don't really count my OM deck. That was right around the same time. This was my only Oracle deck for a long time. But yeah, I think one of them's out of print. But you could definitely pull like a 4 square of these and then cast on top of that. Chris's one was out of print and expensive at one time. Yeah, I have to check and see, because I feel like, I feel like one of them is still, you can get one of them still cheaper. So I'm not sure. Yeah, definitely that might end up deciding for you which one. They're both beautiful. They both have his artwork. I've used both of them for years. So, there's not like one is like a slam dunk. Like if you can't get that one, you're screwed. It's not, in my opinion, they're both, because it's his artwork, they're both very evocative of Fae energy. They're certainly the closest. Obviously the Fairies Oracle, Miss L said, is still in print. It's the closest for me to Fae energy. This, oh my goodness. What's the tarot that I love so much? So my brain is not on fire today. I got too many books and things running around in my brains. Tarot of the Hidden Realms is one that's very close. The Hush Tarot is very close to Fae energy, that understanding of liminal space, the understanding of death and decay, and both of those aspects of Fae. The Hush Tarot isn't a fairy deck, but it feels like a Fae deck. Does that make sense? That Hush Tarot has very much a liminal Fae energy to it. Tarot of the Hidden Realms is also one of my favorites. John Bauer obviously is one of my, I'm looking at my favorites cubicle, and all of my fairy tale stuff is right there. So I have the Baba Studio Fairy Tale, which is like fairy tale stories. The John Bauer is that magic of walking into the dark woods and such powerful. Hush Tarot is Fae. It's uncomfortable Fae energy. Tarot of the Hidden Realms is very much that, again, people that live and breathe in the underworld, kind of the Summerlands. I would think of Tarot of the Hidden Realms as working with the Summerlands energy as well. Those are kind of the ones that the John Bauer is, you just have to be willing to sort of let go of traditional tarot conventions. Not like you can't find your way there a little bit, but the John Bauer is an amazing deck for just letting yourself wander and the story of that comes from the cards and not being too bound up by traditional tarot conventions. So that is one that is one of my absolute favorites, especially to cast with this charm set. So yeah, it's hard. I have yet to find like the closest in artwork for me for Faye is hands down Brian Froud's artwork. Like, I do believe that Brian Froud sees fairies and sees Faye. And so, and he approaches it in that way. Like, he doesn't approach it as this is just his art style. Like, he approaches it as having Faye coming to him and doing their, embodying them in art. And I think that really shows in his artwork. I really do think, and there's a part of me that thinks that Fae energy works best in something like this, like an oracle deck, because they're not really interested in being bound into a meaning of a card. That's not my experience with Fae energy, but you know how I am about that. Like, don't eat the food in Fae. Like, let's take Fae is not all Victorian flower fairies. So yeah, so that, this is definitely the closest that I come to. And again, when I have a walkthrough of the Hush Tarot, that was the closest I've ever felt to that feeling that, like, if you've ever read Winter Rose and Solstice Wood, that combination of books, it really speaks to the understanding of stories like Tam Lin or Thomas the Rhymer, and the more uncomfortable side that Fae energy is about. This is old primal energy, and I don't think a lot of decks really lean into that energy that is uncomfortable, that is time passing and decaying quickly because time moves differently. The Hush Tarot is one that has that feeling of that. It's not a fairy deck, but it feels like that Fae energy. Anyways, we definitely, it works. We're talking about fairy tale. It works, right, with what we're talking about. Rabbit trailing it. Yes, I agree. Pre-existing art involves letting go, but I think John Bauer's, especially, it's just his artwork just asks you to just go into the woods and see what comes out, which I really enjoy about it. I haven't gotten the Rackham Tarot because I do have the Rackham Oracle, which I really love. And so, not the newer one, but an older one. So I haven't gotten the tarot yet. Yes, you do definitely have a Scandinavian flair to the John Bauer Tarot for sure. A lot of use of light and shadow in John Bauer's. So, yep. Okay, I am going to go. Thank you guys for spending 2 hours with me this morning. I hope that you have a absolutely wonderful rest of your day, or if you're watching this back, whenever you're watching it, I hope you've enjoyed a little look into books and fairy tale and the power of story, because that's what divination's all about, right? It's about dipping into symbology and mythology and story and how these things can evoke so many, one little symbol, right, evokes something. And then when you take the time to decide what that symbol means for you, now every time you pick that up, it becomes the energy of the door and the hedge. It becomes the door into the other world. It's no longer just a cute little fairy door charm. It becomes something else. And that's the power of divination, right? That's the whole point of all forms of divination. So it's to me endlessly fascinating. So have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, week, night, whatever it is for you. And I'm going to kick you all out. Now I'm going to end the broadcast.